Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. I know who's here. And this is a statement of honor. Dear ones, if this is the first time you've been in a live channel, you might notice how quickly my partner went into this energy. And that is because I am always there. Just like anything that you have which is spiritual, it doesn't come and go. It doesn't go there when you report to a building and leave later. It's always with you. In these days to come, there will be many impressions, many things that you are seeing. Some things you want to know about, some things you question, some things you honor, some things that you know are just beyond beautiful. A culture of art, of worship, a culture of spirituality, a heavy akash, meaning that lifetime after lifetime is Italian. And it builds and builds into something spectacular over time. But I want to share a story. And it's a common story to you, but you've never heard me share this story, not like this one. Because this particular story is going to be in your face for days. And I want to give you a story, a grand story, a compassionate story about a man, a prophet, a master who came to this planet, and something I've never told, not this way. And you might find it unexpected the way I'm going to tell it. And some of the things that I may say. I am not here to tear away anyone's faith. I am not here to make you question what you think. I am here to love humanity and tell a great, great story. The story of Jesus, the man. You know it was prophesied that a master was coming, don't you? That's real. How much of what you hear is mythology and how much actually happened? And the answer is all of it happened. The mythology part is what men made of it in addition to what happened. Oh, but what happened? A master was on his way to the planet. A master with the potential of changing the earth. And he did. Long before he arrived, the prophecies were there. It was coming. He was coming. And he came. Let's start the story. Is the manger scene accurate? Dear ones, over time, many mythologies and realities compress and expand so that they're easily told. But I want to tell you that although it didn't happen all at once and it didn't happen where they said it happened, indeed, the child was visited by royalty. The child was visited by those who follow the stars. The child was visited by 3 wise astrologers and more. Not all at once, but over time. Because of the prophecies, to make sure it was real, to make sure it was the one. And it was the one. This is true. And if you take a look at why the man came, he came to change a paradigm. Now here's where it gets good. The man is a Jew. And in the times where he was, in what is now Israel, and the surrounding areas is where this all took place. All of his life, a Jew. But as he started to grow up, he started to feel and know who he was. Very quickly leaving home, stories you haven't really heard. This man was here to change something, a paradigm. And he objected to the rules of a judgmental God. A judgmental God who didn't care. A judgmental God who just follow the rules, follow the rules. That's what he saw in the culture he was born in. His heritage and his lineage he rejected. He started to make waves. He joined groups. Some say he was in a scene. But he had the wisdom of a holy man, of a priest. And he could recite things. He knew all about the history. He knew things at a very young age no one really knows at that young. He was seen as someone very, very special, even when he was part of the groups that were split-offs and rebels. He was even called in certain circles the evil priest, because he was a priest. It didn't take long, dear ones, for him to make the first statements of why he was there. And I want you to listen to this, because this was all absolutely accurate and true. To this day, accurate and true. Listen. He says, I'm here to change the shifts of the past. I'm here to create a new paradigm of a living, loving God. To change the dispensation of God fearing as a father who is going to punish you with books and rules to something which is so grand. A new paradigm, a new dispensation, the dispensation of love. That God loves you like a son. In fact, so much so, you all can be called the sons of God. That's how much love there is. God knows your name. God loves you beyond measure. God knows who you are. It's not an uncaring God that'll punish and destroy. It's not a God of the past. It's not a God of law anymore. It's a God of love. And that was the message, and he started teaching it and preaching it. And more listened. And it goes on. Make no mistake the words he said. He said, I am the one. I am the only one, the scheduled one, to bring you this information. And no one is going to know about it unless it's through me. Because I am the prophesied one, the scheduled one, to bring this news. And the news is that God is love. And wherever he went, he said, remember, this is the way of it. This is the truth of it. This is your life. And I am the only one that can give it to you. I am the scheduled one that can give it to you. Listen to me, he said. And on and on. He showed humanity what humanity could do, and the power in there of even changing physics and altering things and healing things. He says, this is what a human can do with the love of God inside. No wonder they loved him. And he made waves. A lot of waves. You know, there is a lot of information that was written about this beautiful man that still is unrevealed. Unrevealed to the planet as a whole. Beautiful it is. Much of it was uncovered in Qumran. Not necessarily about the man, but about the dispensation of law, about the belief of the Jews, and the story of the man. But that's not all. There's been a lot of writing through the years, even after he was gone, through the years by those who loved him, who wrote the scriptures, but also the ones who were with him. There was another discovery in Egypt, in Nag Hammadi, of the actual writings of his disciples. The writings of John, the writings of Thomas, all there. What was it like? What did he mean? What did he really do? By the way, those writings have not been revealed in Scripture. You have to go find them. There's a lot that has been written. It is so amazing about this man. And then it happened. Of course, he knew his time was limited. He did. He knew it because he was scheduled as a master of this planet, and he knew who he was. Now, before you say, well, that's an unusual thing, how could that happen? I'd like to tell you that if you look at history, and you take a look at even the lineage of Buddha, they know who they are when they arrive. Their Akash is looked at and tested. This is no different, dear ones, to other masters, and there have been many on the earth. This man knew why he was here. He knew he wouldn't be here long to teach, and he wasn't. You all have the story. You all think you know what happened. Let us just say this. They terminated his teaching. And they put him on the wood. That's what you're going to see here in Italy. He's hanging on the wood. The Jews, they didn't want any part of him. He was too rebellious. He was a wicked priest, an evil priest. He was not really honoring the Jews. And the conquerors of the day, the Romans, the Italians, they put him on the wood. Too much trouble. He was stirring things up. And to make it even grander from their standpoint, they didn't tie him to the wood like they did those around him. They nailed him to it, as if to say, don't make waves. Look here. This is what happens when you make waves. Well, the waves that he made last to this day. And if you could hear him talk, you would hear him say the same thing right now. Listen, God is love. The Creator who gave you what you have inside loves you and knows your name like a son, like a daughter. That's the message of the man. He was taken down and put in a tomb. Now, it's very interesting, dear ones. Don't make anything more of this than this. The protocol of why they removed him had nothing to do with his state of being. It's against the law in Jerusalem to crucify after sundown. That law still exists. And when sundown came, they took him off and put him in the tomb. There were those who were allowed to accompany them and accompany him to the tomb and leave him as they rolled a stone in place. And that is accurate and that is true. And his teaching stopped there. Now, as the story goes, a few days later, they saw the tomb was open. And a little after that, they saw he was alive. He had returned majestically. You know, a God-man would do that. And that's what he became. Now, here's what I want to tell you. Let's look at the reactions and what happens today. What was the reactions there of the Jews? Happy to be rid of him. Even to this day, not acknowledging what really took place of one of their own. And then you have those who have built his church. Look at the irony of the Romans who killed him and where the Vatican is, who built him up. The same culture. Started in such a beautiful spiritual way to honor him. Now, through the ages, things changed, but I'm not going to talk about that. You're going to see it. But let's talk about what humans have done with the man. What they've decided he was here for, the man. for many, many years, the depiction of everything he did and everything he taught, the depiction, the statue, the symbol, he's on the wood dying. That became untenable a little later. And there were so many protesting that they said, you keep putting him on the wood like he's always suffering and he's always there, but he's alive. So the ones who protested have the wood shown without the man suffering. Today there are over 400 sects of Christianity, all believing a certain way, still trying to figure out what he really meant and what he really said. And the only thing they have in common is that they love him. Because he's the one who gave them the idea, the dispensation of love, something you have today. Let me give you something that's interesting, dear ones. Something you're going to see. This man, this Jesus, the one who said, you're only going to find out the way and the truth and all that is your life if you listen to me, because God is love. He's not judgmental. He doesn't have rules. And look at where it has become today. Because Christianity became a judgmental God with rules. And dear ones, that is what humanity has done. You're going to see it in so many places, accompanied by some of the greatest works of art in the world. But there's something else happening even in the church today. They're starting to move away from a judgmental God, starting to make it more like the man said, starting to actually understand that the purpose of his visit was an example of the love of God instead of coming to do something. There are those who would love the man and feel they have to be saved by him or suffer a little in order to be like him. And then there are those who know something different because he's alive. And they look at him and say, I love you, and I don't even have a prophet. And everything in this great country centers around that occurrence. Dear ones, as you go forth in these days, take a look. With the correct story in front of you, a story of love, you get to see what the ages have done with it. You get to see the rebels within the church. You get to see the popes that weren't so popish. And you get to see the ones who really understood and loved this man and put him in their heart and his family. And to this day continue to understand he was there as a shining example of what I teach to this day to all of you. There is a Creator who knows who you are, who loves you, and you are almost unlimited in what you can do with this, especially with the shift. And the shift we'll explain later, although we've explained it many times. There are many who need to hear it, who will listen to this later. That's the story I've never really told, not like this. There have been many who says, well, that Kryon, you know, he's a channel. And that means that the Kryon energy in the channel has nothing whatsoever to do with that which you call religion. I'll tell you something. The masters of this planet, all of them, who taught the love of God, the oneness with all things, are my teammates. Indeed. Listen to them. For what they have to say in this new energy is starting to come forth to create a more peaceful earth, because the time is right for the message of the man to take hold. That's what I think. That's what I teach. I'm in love with humanity for these reasons. and so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. We celebrate the place we are in. We celebrate the dedication and the love of this mountaintop monastery. For the original builders, what they were trying to do, as high as they could build, to touch the face of God, to show everyone around that they had time to build, to worship, to be. It's an honoring of the creative source. It's an honoring of God in whatever way they felt God would be honored. And in this, it participates in many ley lines. We sit in this place in the light rain, and so the message won't be long. But it's a message of wonder, how these things could be, how the ley lines could line up. But the wonder is in the heart of the human being. The wonder is in the exposition of God into you in whatever way you feel. I want to remind you of something. This is the second channel of a series. If you have tuned into this from some other place, some other source, this is number 2 in Italy in 2018. And so it goes with the first one, and there is a reason why these hooked together and these messages are given the way they are. The first one was a story that you know so well, but it started because it was a paradigm changer for the earth. You sit on this mountain, observing the beauty and the energy that is here because of this paradigm changer, this man. And then we say to you, after all of these years, what is the next paradigm shift? And was there a precursor of it? Was there anything that would say, what's next? And we ask this of you. If you're a senior here, you know what the prophecy said. Something was going to happen around the year 2000 and in that decade. Something was going to happen. Perhaps you were not one who read Scripture, but history. Perhaps you read Nostradamus. Something was going to happen. And the prophecies went on. No matter what the organization was, whatever the Scriptures you were reading, they all said the same thing. There is something that's going to happen. And so you look at it, it's the same kind of precursor energy. When the Master himself came, that was foretold. And so all of your Scriptures were saying the same thing. Something is happening. Many of you said, well, it has to be the end of the planet. It has to be an Armageddon there. And this was common among humans, to say, well, it's going to be the end. Perhaps it's going to be the beginning in certain ways, but something was going to happen. Now let me enlarge that for a moment, because the indigenous of the planet said the same thing. Long before the Master got here of love, there was prophecy of this timing. Within this time, the decades after the year 2000, if humanity was here, something was going to happen. Another paradigm shift, another dispensation. And it has. Dear ones, that is what we speak of. We'll talk about the actual shift, perhaps at another time in this series. Some of you have heard it before, others need to. But this particular little channel right now is to remind you something has happened. Beautiful. Both the indigenous and the Scripture have said that this particular energy could be almost like a coming again of the Master. It could be, according to the indigenous who didn't even know the Master, it would be a change in human nature if we made it. We, humans, my partner, you. And here you sit in the 18th year after 2000. I want you to have a snapshot of this planet right now. In your life, senior, let me ask you, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you were looking at a Cold War. As many who could nuclearize themselves, as many who could do whatever they could on all sides were doing it. Peace was not an option. It was about strength. And today you're looking at just the opposite. This world wants peace. And what you're seeing is this, is those who don't want peace are either being ostracized or forced into peace. And you're seeing it on your news. You're seeing inappropriate behavior no longer being swept under the carpet. Did you notice? This is called light. And if I could summarize what it is, I would say this. It is the teaching of the man who was on the wood. You're in the right place at the right time, for this man is the one who brought that paradigm shift to the planet that said God is love and carries the light of the planet to you. We've got to a place now, dear ones, where this message can be known by so many. And it's not the message of worshiping a prophet as much as the message of understanding God inside. There is so much more, but you're right on schedule. This is not some doctrine of metaphysics. This is history. This is the prophecy from the indigenous and all of those, even in organized religion, coming to this place where they say, there's a paradigm shift, things are moving. And that is the message today. Right time, right place, on purpose. And you get to sit on the mountaintop for just a moment and lift your hand and say, thank you. Thank you for showing me that God is real. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. Once again, we find ourselves in a public area. An area, however, that has been dedicated for a very long time to the things which are sacred in this land. Today, you've gazed upon amazing restorations of ancient art. Did you ever wonder, when you were looking at it, about the soul of the painter? Now, I ask that because in this series of channels, this being number 3, I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to wait until there are more. I want more Italians to talk to about the soul and what it might be that you don't realize. You know, those who are responsible even for this building believed in an eternal soul, that it went somewhere, that it did something. Regardless of whether it was hooked to that which is their doctrine or their dogma, there was the belief that the soul lives on. It does, dear ones. And what it means truly is that regardless of what you've been told or you think, the soul is multidimensional. It is beyond anything that you are in here called earth. And I say in here because it's an enclosed reality. What I want to get at is what I'm going to talk about later. And that is, there is no death. Is it possible that that artist was actually there watching you watch the paintings that the artist did? As far-fetched as that might be, I will tell you there is a multidimensional aspect that says yes, that there is an awareness after death, and I'm going to talk about that later. Dear ones, this is a joyful bit of information for so many. Even 4 of you here need to hear this, that there is no death, that there is an element which lives on, perhaps even with you, and you can feel them. This would be part of the shift. The very aspect and paradigm of death itself and what happens to the soul starts to shift slightly in the new paradigm past 2012. In the last channel, we started telling you that the prophets of old started foretelling of a shift. It would be a shift more than just consciousness. It would be dramatic. In the calendars of the ancients, I speak of the Maya, the 5,125-year calendar ceased to exist. It was the end of the calendar. 5,125 years, approximately, as measured by the precession of the equinox of the Earth times 5. I'm not going to explain that. I'm just going to tell you that it comes from the stars. It comes from astronomy. That calendar talked about consciousness, and it ended in 2012. To many, this was frightening. It didn't just change. It didn't become another color. They tore it down. It was gone. December 21, 2012 was the middle of the Earth's wobble of 26,000 years before it started again, representing a 36-year window. It's astronomy, and it's also sacred prophecy from the ancients, long before any prophet that you've ever seen that you call yours. And in this, there is a story in itself. And the story is that there is more than just a change of consciousness. It is a change of dimensionality. Now, the Mayans didn't know anything about dimension. Neither did those who prophesied this time of consciousness togetherness, this time of the potential, if you didn't destroy each other, that instead there would be a sweep of human consciousness that had been coming, that would then start to develop and evolve to something higher than it has ever been. That is where you are now. And you're starting to see it even in your news in this 2018 time. It's starting to happen with those who are coming together instead of tearing things apart. But dimensionality? How could this be? Dear ones, it's tied to that which is you. It's tied to the reality and the paradigm you live in. What's real and what is not to you? And this is where it gets very interesting and why it's so difficult for some of you, even in this group, to understand what's coming. And that's not any criticism. That's a habit. Let me tell you something about this. You have what I will call the habit of mythology. Things that you believe, true or not, that have worked in your life, you put upon yourself as a badge of reality. And even if you're shown something that is obviously different, changing, better, you will often say, not for me. I'm not comfortable going there. And that is so understandable. But it also keeps an entire generation in the same mythology, in the same place that they have always been. It's a very interesting position to be in when you look around and see how it might work. You might have heard of chaos theory. Now, I'm not going to explain that to you. I'm just going to give you the same word in another paradigm. Some of you have been watching what the young people are interested in. And it's frustrating because it looks like they're not interested in much at all. In fact, the things that your parents told you you should do are not being followed at all by the younger generation. They're not interested in setting a goal. Did you notice? They're not interested in doing what you were told is needed to exist in your culture. It would seem that what they think and what they do and where they go is chaotic to some. Now let me say something to you, dear ones. One human's chaos is another human system. And what I mean by that is what looks chaotic to you may be a beautiful understanding of a new consciousness of togetherness, understanding that intuition will guide them to the right place, that they don't have to decide 8 years out what's going to happen or what they want to do or what they're interested in. That they'll go day by day and understand they might be guided to the right place and find their bliss and find their passion, and that's not what you were taught. Turn the page. Now you look into the future and you see the same. You don't truly understand the energy that is coming. In fact, some of you are frightened of it because it isn't what you're used to. It's not comfortable. And there's a tendency then to walk away from it or fear it or say, that's not for me, including channeling. All of these things slowly will be revealed to such a degree that you might even remember this day and this message and say, I wonder if he was right. I wonder if this was real. I wonder if things are really changing to this degree. And then there will be those who hear the message and say, it's good to hear good news, and then something bad will happen, and they said, well, I knew it would be false. Because you don't give the attribute of humanism credit. 2 steps forward, 1 step back. It's difficult to go into a future that is nothing, that is a dimension you have not seen. And what is this dimensionality anyway? I'm going to tell you what I told the group that I was with on the Danube. I'm going to tell you this that I've said before, that history repeats itself. Did you notice? History repeats itself. And this is part of physics. The parts of the atomic structure that you look at and you study, some of the quantum parts are time particles. Time is not linear. It doesn't go one direction, but it looks that way to you. And the frustration for you is that you tend to run over the same energies and create the same issues. So much is this true that futurists have looked at the earth right now and say it is way overdue for a war. And that is a statement that says this, that there's a war schedule. And that war schedule is the time fractal repeating itself over and over. And those who study this see the pattern. And that is frightening to so many people. They say, well, when will this happen? If you're overdue, that says, well, it's coming. And here's what I want to tell you. When you have a dimensional shift, it changes the circle of time. And what I told your Hungarian neighbors, if you're European, is this, is that they can no longer judge the future by the past. And now that's the message I will give to this group and anyone listening right now. There is a tendency to take everything that you believe and have been taught, including those things with our truth and mythology that are pasted upon you from birth, and not cross through that veil of dimensionality called the future. Because it's too hard to go to a place you've never been in your thinking. It's too difficult. And there are those of you who said, I'm too old to go there, not understanding it might even extend your life if you gave it a chance. If you took a look at it and said, I wonder if this is so, that we're not going to go into trouble again in the same way. Oh, it's difficult to know because there is no prophecy for the time. Did you notice? All the prophecies of old, including those of Scripture, Nostradamus, Casey, all of these things are not happening. Not happening. And that is because you moved off of the old track and the old reality. All around you, you look at that old reality. The potentials, all of these things, you can look at them, you can celebrate them, and put them into a book called history, not future. So this is what we talk about when we talk about the shift. A real event, prophesied, one that was guided by the stars and astronomy, and one that has a very long track record with multiple indigenous people for thousands of years. All talking about the potential of now. Now, what made the difference is this. You went through that shift, and other civilizations that you do not know about, that you've never been taught about, that were here on this planet, did not. You are number 5, dear ones. And number 4 is hard to describe to you because you'd have to dig to find it. There are those archaeologists who are just now finding it. And some are so much in the old paradigm, they deny it and cover it up. Number 3 will never be found, as well as 1 and 2. They're too old, they've been washed away, they've been eroded. But number 4 is findable. And when you see a civilization before you thought there was one, remember these words. There are those who didn't make it, who destroyed themselves on purpose. And you were about to do the same, and you know it, and you didn't. And that's the celebration, and that's the paradigm shift. That's the good news. That's the joy. And in that, there is even a change in your multidimensionality of your Merkabah and what it is and what it will become, and your ability to sense those who perhaps have even passed over that you thought you would never sense again. That's how profound the soul is. I'm going to tell you more about that as time goes on. Some of the things I talk about will be cryptic to you. You may want to listen again. But even if they are, I want you to remember this message. This shift was for you, old soul. So many of you who sit and listen are aware of the shift. Don't fear it. Embrace the change. And let this beautiful love from the Creator pour into you and say, that's free choice. Did you notice that no matter what the spiritual system, they're aware of the duality of choice for humanity? Every single spiritual system has that. And that is the free choice that brings you here. That's the free choice that creates a planet that is beyond the calendar, brand new, with a track before it that it has never trod on before. That ought to excite you, dear ones, and not frighten you. There's more. There's a lot more. But for now, it's enough. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. It's a heartbeat it takes for my partner to get into this some call trance. My partner steps away. It's not Lee, but he's here. He steps away, and you might say he listens, doesn't know what's coming next. It's fast because it can be. It's fast because the human being is equipped for this. Not for channeling, but literally to be in two places at the same time. This is not going to be a profound teaching channel, dear ones. This is a reflective channel. The fourth in a series in Italy, the one before the seminar series tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to talk to a group of Italians. Right now I'm talking to an eclectic group from all over the planet. I'll say different things to them than I will to you. For they have come to hear about the Italian way, the spiritual information that may be there, as I've given to them in so many other towns in this great country. Kryon, some say, are you telling me you know what the channel is going to be? Let me put it this way. If you have a map, you know the destination, but there are many ways to get there. And the energy of the moment will determine what is said to get there. I know what the message is that I will give to the Italian people. Profound, powerful, heartfelt, beautiful. They need to hear some things that will undo perhaps what they've been told, to give them hope where some don't have it. Channeling is in the moment. It's like the painter who knows what the picture will be and chooses the colors as he or she goes. The words are the colors. They're beautiful, and they paint as the energy is there that demands the colors that get painted. This is the way channeling works. And each one of you, dear ones, each one has the ability to pull on this same source you hear right now. I'm going to ask you a question that I may ask tomorrow of those who are Italian. Number one, do you believe in reincarnation? I ask that because there are so many who do not. The spiritual system of this country does not. And there has been no teaching of it here of any significance at all. And so I ask you, and I will ask them, do you believe that perhaps you've lived before? And here's where I ask you to use your spiritual logic and reflection on who you are. The prevailing doctrine here is this, that you have a soul, and that soul goes with you, and it's eternal. And yet, it doesn't exist before you're born on the planet as a human. Therefore, there's some magic that occurs when you are born and you get a soul. And then it goes forever. I ask you, is this spiritual logic sound? Or perhaps you might add something to it, that your soul existed before you got here. That's the first step to saying, well, I'm going to enhance something that doesn't make sense. I believe the soul is eternal in both directions. In other words, you always were, and you always will be. Now, to some, that sounds blasphemous, because that means the soul is eternal just like God and always was there just like God. It isn't blasphemous when you listen to the words of the masters, the one that is worshipped here and so many others who say to you, the creation source of all things is inside every single human being. The master who is worshipped here many times referred to this, and he said, all of us are the sons of God. And he wanted to impress on every single human that there was some kind of a change happening right there where he was, a dispensation of love, and a realization that the soul that you have is God. Now I want you to turn the page for a moment, because this was not new information, not for the world at all. Hundreds of years before that master came upon this planet, responsible for all of the compassion that has built these buildings, hundreds of years, there was another master. And even before then, a culture that didn't even have a master, no prophet at all. And the basis of all of their belief, was the God inside. So when you think of what the man Jesus said, he was reiterating what so many masters had said before him. The Creator is inside you. And if that is so, and if that is true, that means that your soul is connected to that Creator. And if that is so, that means there was no beginning of your soul, and there will be no end. I want to talk to the Italian people tomorrow about that very thing. I might use some of the words I just did for you. And the reason I'm asking is I want you to reflect for a moment on who you are. You know, philosophers, many of them here, have for centuries asked the question, what is the meaning of life? Why do you exist? What is the reasoning for your being here? And I contend that that is the wrong question. That the explanation of why you're here would simply be an esoteric exercise in poor logic, because you don't really know the question you should ask. You exist, dear ones, to affect that which is around you. A famous sermon given by Buddha that started the Zen movement was a sermon without words. A sermon where Buddha held a flower, and for the entire time he just looked at it. All he did was look at it. Some in the ceremony got it and understood it, but what it means is this: the flower does not question its existence or why it is there. When you take a look at the flower, what you see is what it means to you, what it does to the surroundings, how it fits in with Gaia energy. What does it give back to the earth? What does it give to other flowers? What does it give to the insects? What does it give to your eyes when you see it, the lily? Do you understand that the existence of the flower does not question itself? And when you look at it, you see that it is connected to everything. That's you. You are the flower, the biggest flower that exists on this planet. You don't question why you exist. You instead look at your existence. How do you affect those around you? How do you intersect with Earth and Gaia and the things that are beautiful? What imprint do you leave here? If you believe that your soul is eternal in both directions, dear ones, it gives credibility and logic that perhaps you've lived before. And that is the system we teach. And hundreds of years before the prophet that is worshipped here existed, that was the system on earth that was taught. That is the first intuition that is spiritual of a human system. You've lived before, and you come back. And what I want to tell you is that your life, as you sit here right now, is not obvious to you. Think about what you say and what you do and how you act and how you love. Think about the compassion that you are able to share with others, not just family, but those on the street that honk at you. Think of the compassion. Does it make a difference? Or is it just high thinking? Does it create energy? Or is it just consciousness that goes away once you think about it? This new energy you're in on this planet is beginning to show and tell things that have never been shown and told before. My partner will bring that information. But to you, here's what it means: that everything you think, every action you have, creates energy and stays here. Every lifetime you've had builds on the last until you are here, old soul, in a small gathering in Italy, listening to this message about you, leaving imprints wherever you go. Did you know that when you're alone, perhaps in your room, what you think leaves an imprint? You don't have to necessarily be with anyone else. That is how powerful consciousness is. What do you think about when you're alone? Do you count your blessings? Do you send energy to those who need it so desperately on this planet, who don't have food like you do tonight? I asked my partner to do something very difficult, and he did it in a channel. He said to Americans, do you put light in the White House for your leader or not? What is the attitude toward government? Do you put light there or not? Do you see the power and the imprint that an old soul can have? I want to tell the Italian people how old they are and what has really happened here, so they will know what they're creating. It's beautiful, and perhaps that's why so many of them are going to come. But this is for you. Is death the end, as you've been told? So many have told you this. Or is there more? I have said this: death has no sting. You have had it so many times, dear ones, but you can't remember it because it wouldn't be appropriate. Tomorrow I may give a story about what it's like to die and the frustration of somebody who has passed over and yet is still here, watching those mourn, tear out their hair, and cry for years. And they're sitting there all the time, tapping their toe, saying, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here, I'm here. This is a paradigm shift from what you've been told in an old system that doesn't see a bigger picture. A beautiful system that doesn't even know itself because it never got there yet. This is where you're going. I've said before, you don't know what you don't know. You're becoming quantum. And a quantum human being is beginning to have perceptions beyond that which you were taught. Don't be confused. Don't just turn it away because it's not what you were taught. I ask, are you your own person or are you what you were told? Do you have the ability to even open the box and say, I listen? Let the ancients, billions of them, before you who knew about this cycle, come to you even now and say, it is the way of it. It is beautiful. It is not a judging God, but a loving one that has created a system where you can come back and continue and never make the same mistakes you made this time. Never make the same mistakes you did this time. That is because this is a new dispensation. It's going to be called the dispensation of compassion someday. And you are the ones who are going to make that difference. Who are you? Who are you to yourself? When you take your last breath, is that it? Does it really feel like that's it to you? Or do you remember that's not it? Oh, there's so much more. We'll talk about that some more if you wish. These are the things right now that give so much hope to so many of you, perhaps who have not heard it in this way before. It's a beautiful system created by a beautiful God, and you have participated in that because God is in you. That is the truth. You're going to hear more of this truth And so many revelations are going to start to occur from that which you think is static, organized religion, where they're going to start changing certain kinds of things in order to come in line with a greater truth that they will discover. Organized religion is not going to go away, dear ones. It's going to get better. In other words, the truth will prevail. And those who love the Jesus will continue for the same reasons they always did. But they will see a bigger system that he talked about, one that encompasses a loving God and not a judgmental God. And then you'll really understand who he was and why he should be loved so much by so many on this planet. Other prophets as well will start to change what they teach, or their interpretation will be different. There'll come a day when there will be no judgment between systems. You'll be free to worship God in any way you wish, with a prophet or no prophet. And no one will sit at your feet and accuse you of anything. They will say, isn't it great that God is so big that you can see different aspects, different faces, different ways, and you'd all be correct. That's how big God is. It is human beings who put God in the box and seal it off from one another. And that, dear ones, is an old energy that's going away. Be part of it. Who are you? In reflection, when you take your last breath, I promise that you will see the face of God in a way you never saw before. And where others around you who are still here may gnash their teeth and tear their hair and cry that you're gone, you'll know better. You're not gone. And everything you'll do will be to show them that you're not gone. And that is going to change as well. It's a new paradigm, dear ones. The veil is starting to get thinner. You're going to start seeing those you've loved and lost in a different way and know they're still around. And if that's all you get from this room and this seminar and this trip, that's enough. To go away with a greater hope in your heart and the knowledge you're not alone, even the ones you think you've lost. Think about that. And you will be in the same position. Death has no sting. It is simply another dimensional shift, another energy for you before you return, greater than you left. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon, a magnetic service.
Saluti miei cari, sono Kryon del servizio magnetico.
Perhaps some of you have not seen this before.
Forse qualcuno di voi non ha mai visto questo prima.
How can a human being shift so quickly
Come può un essere umano cambiare così velocemente,
into an almost different dimensionality?
quasi ad una dimensionalità completamente diversa?
But that's what it is.
Questo è quello che sta accadendo.
And the answer is because God is inside.
E la risposta è perché Dio è dentro.
God is inside.
Dio è dentro.
Every master who ever walked this planet said that.
Ogni maestro che abbia mai camminato sul pianeta ha detto questo.
The one that is exhibited in this city said that.
Quello che è esibito in questa città ha detto questo.
You are the sons of God, all of you.
Voi siete figli di Dio, tutti voi.
There's a relationship
C'è una relazione
that perhaps you haven't really understood.
che forse non avete davvero compreso.
You deserve to be here.
Voi meritate di essere qui.
There's no accident that you're here.
Non c'è casualità per il fatto che siete qui.
There are so many things that I would like to talk to you about.
Ci sono molte cose di cui vorrei parlarvi,
Because I know who is here.
perché io so chi è qui.
Dear ones, I mean that in such love.
Amati, ve lo dico con molto amore,
Like you would recognize your family, I know who's here.
come se riconoscessi la mia famiglia, io so chi è qui.
I am from the other side of the veil,
Io vengo dall'altra parte del velo,
speaking through a human being.
parlo attraverso un essere umano.
Were you aware that all scripture was written in this fashion?
Siete consapevoli che tutte le scritture sacre sono state scritte in questo modo?
When humans become anointed with the love from the other side of the veil, they write.
Quando gli umani vengono unti con l'olio dall'altra parte del velo, loro scrivono,
They have profound connections.
hanno connessioni profonde.
It's why certain scriptures are like poetry and they're so beautiful.
Ed è per questo che alcune scritture sacre sono come la poesia, sono bellissime.
Some would even say they were channeled.
Alcuni dicono che sono state canalizzate.
That's God inside.
Questo è il Dio interiore.
If you haven't heard it before,
Se non l'avete mai sentito dire prima,
it truly is the story of creation.
è davvero la storia della creazione.
You are a piece of the creative source.
Voi siete un pezzetto della sorgente creativa.
And that is why you say you have free choice.
Ed è per questo che dite che avete il libero arbitrio.
From the oldest systems, you have that which is the explanation of duality.
Dai sistemi più antichi avete ciò che chiamate la spiegazione della dualità.
Through your consciousness,
Attraverso la vostra coscienza
you can think into high places and low places.
potete pensare ai luoghi più alti e a quelli più bassi.
That is your free choice.
Questo è il vostro libero arbitrio.
Dear ones, the reason I am here,
Cari, la ragione per cui io sono qui,
the messages of Kryon, the reason for that
i messaggi di Kryon, la ragione di essi,
is that consciousness on this planet is shifting.
è che la coscienza su questo pianeta sta cambiando.
If your great-grandparents could see you now,
Se i vostri avi potessero vedere ciò che sta accadendo ora,
they would tell you how different things are.
vi direbbero quanto sono cambiate le cose.
If you ask yourself, what does the world really want?
Se vi chiedete cosa vuole davvero il mondo,
Not just a few.
non solo alcuni,
And the overwhelming answer would be peace
e la risposta più grande sarebbe la pace,
with never even one war to come.
senza alcuna guerra in futuro, neanche una.
There was a time on this planet where it was very different.
C'è stato un tempo su questo pianeta in cui le cose erano molto diverse,
In fact, most of your history is very different.
e infatti molta della vostra storia è molto diversa,
Not now.
ma non ora.
And that is why we speak the way we do
Ed è per questo che parliamo in questo modo
of the things we talk about now.
delle cose di cui parliamo ora.
A message for the Italians.
Un messaggio per gli italiani.
I want you to look at some common sense for a moment.
Voglio che guardiate al buon senso ora.
Most things on the planet seem to happen randomly,
Molte cose sul pianeta sembrano accadere in maniera casuale,
but not here.
ma non qui.
You have more than your share of beautiful things,
Avete una parte molto grande di cose bellissime,
of artists,
di artisti,
scientists,
scienziati,
medicine,
medicina,
astronomy,
astronomia,
sculpture,
scultura,
all in one place.
tutto questo in un posto solo.
Italy is the design capital of Earth.
L'Italia è la capitale terrestre del design.
Does that seem to be random to you?
Può essere a caso per voi?
Oh, dear ones, there were many cultures who had sparks of greatness.
Cari, ci sono state molte culture con faville di grandezza,
There's usually a time limit established with each of those,
ma con ognuna di queste di solito c'è un tempo limitato, stabilito,
about 200 years.
circa 200 anni,
They will call that their sweet spot or their glory days.
e chiamano questo periodo i loro giorni di gloria.
But in Italy,
Ma in Italia
it never stopped.
non è mai terminato.
What are the odds of this?
Quali sono le probabilità di questo?
I'm going to explain it.
Ve lo spiegherò.
Do you believe in reincarnation?
Voi credete nella reincarnazione?
I would say most of those in the room do.
Io potrei dire che la maggior parte delle persone in sala credono in questo.
Or you've come here because of these thoughts, which are esoteric.
E siete venuti qui a causa di questi pensieri che sono esoterici.
Did you know that almost half the earth is with you?
Sapevate che più della metà della Terra è con voi?
Did you know that the original spiritual systems of the planet had reincarnation?
Sapevate che i sistemi spirituali del pianeta si reincarnano?
It was intuitive.
Era intuitivo.
Hundreds and hundreds of years before the Master of Love walked on this planet.
Centinaia e centinaia di anni prima che il Maestro dell'amore ha camminato su questo pianeta.
The teaching was reincarnation.
L'insegnamento prima di lui era la reincarnazione.
I tell you that so you know it's not new.
Vi dico questo per farvi comprendere che non è una cosa nuova.
It's not for the new age or just the esoteric thinkers of today.
Non è per le persone New Age o i pensatori esoterici di oggi.
Entire cultures, millions and millions believe in this.
Intere culture, milioni di persone credono in questo.
Could it be true that you've lived before?
È possibile che abbiate già vissuto prima.
The system hides from you, dear ones,
Il sistema si nasconde da voi, cari miei,
for you are concerned with this life and this life only.
affinché possiate essere preoccupati solo con questa vita.
I'm going to give another channeling today,
Oggi farò un'altra canalizzazione
and when I do,
e quando la farò
I'm going to tell you what happens when you leave here.
vi dirò quello che accade quando andate via di qui.
But right now I want to talk about the Italian Akash.
Ma ora voglio parlare della Akasha italiana.
What is that?
Che cos'è?
The Akash is the experience of past life energy.
La Akasha è l'esperienza di energie di vite passate.
What is it you carry in you
Che cosa portate dentro di voi
from a past life?
dalle vite passate?
And unlike so many others on the planet, I will tell you what you have.
E a differenza di molti altri sul pianeta vi dirò cosa voi avete.
You are Italian.
Voi siete italiani?
If you're an Italian today,
Se siete un italiano oggi,
the chances are very high
le probabilità sono molto alte
you were yesterday,
che lo siate stati anche ieri,
the lifetime of the past and the past and the past and the past.
nelle varie vite precedenti.
My partner talked about the circle of time today.
Il mio partner oggi ha parlato del cerchio, del circolo, del tempo.
And how you go around this circle and it enhances everything you've done in the past.
E come andate attraverso questo circolo e migliora tutte le cose che avete fatto nel passato.
In the case of the earth, war enhanced war.
Nel caso della guerra sulla terra è guerra ancora più potenziata.
And they got bigger and more horrible.
E le guerre sono diventate più grandi e sempre più terribili.
But in this land,
Ma in questa terra
the biggest thing that gets enhanced is creativity,
la cosa che viene potenziata, quella più importante, è la creatività,
beauty,
bellezza,
design,
il design,
food,
il cibo,
astronomy,
l'astronomia,
physics.
la fisica.
Creativity has many faces.
La creatività ha molte sfaccettature
And there are those who would look at Italy and say, how is it possible
e molti guardano l'Italia e si chiedono com'è possibile
that so much was given to so few?
che così tanto sia stato dato a così pochi.
And the answer is in your Akash.
E la risposta è nella vostra Akasha.
Listen, there's a system here.
Ascoltate, c'è un sistema qui.
Not all the cultures have this.
Non tutte le culture hanno questo.
Some of them have it for other reasons, but not all of them repeat and repeat and repeat.
Alcune di esse ce l'hanno per altre ragioni, ma non tutte ripetono e ripetono sempre di più.
So it's built in, isn't it?
Quindi è intrinseca, non è così?
You have a built-in system
Voi avete un sistema intrinseco
where Italians continue to repeat in the same areas.
e gli italiani si reincarnano e ripetono nelle stesse aree.
Families grow into bigger families.
Le famiglie crescono in famiglie più grandi
Let's make this clear.
e rendiamo questo più chiaro.
It's not always the same
Non è sempre la stessa cosa,
with other cultures.
soprattutto in altre culture. Non è così.
So the system is that you tend to repeat and get better.
Quindi il sistema è che tendete a ripetere e a migliorarvi, ed è così che è stato.
Why do people come to Italy?
Perché le persone vengono in Italia?
To see the center of all beauty.
Per vedere il centro di tutta la bellezza.
You might say it runs in your blood.
Potete dire che scorre nel vostro sangue, nelle vostre vene.
It really does.
Ed è proprio così,
Or it's part of the system within your DNA.
perché fa parte del sistema all'interno del vostro DNA.
And you know it and you feel it.
E voi lo sapete, lo sentite.
Why would such a thing be?
Perché una cosa del genere è così.
Before we go any further,
Prima di andare avanti,
I'd like to tell you about the shift.
vorrei parlarvi del cambiamento.
The shift was prophesied by the ancients.
Il cambiamento è stato profetizzato dagli antichi.
It is not something you just heard from Kryon.
Non è una cosa che avete sentito parlare solo da Kryon.
Thousands of years ago,
Migliaia di anni fa,
those who would study the stars
coloro che studiavano le stelle
talked about the wobble of the earth,
hanno parlato dell'oscillazione della Terra,
the precession of the equinoxes.
la precessione degli equinozi.
And there were shamans who then tracked that with consciousness and choice of what the planet had done before.
E ci sono stati sciamani che hanno collegato questo alla coscienza, a quello che era stato fatto prima.
There are shamans who prophesied that war would become so great you would end it and end humanity.
E alcuni sciamani hanno previsto che le guerre sarebbero diventate così grandi da sterminare l'umanità e il mondo.
Some of that made it to your scriptures,
E alcune di queste informazioni sono entrate nelle vostre
talking
scritture
about
sacre,
the end times,
parlando dei tempi della fine,
where there would be no shift, only an end.
dove non ci sarebbe stato alcun cambiamento, ma solo la fine.
Someone called it the Armageddon,
Qualcuno l'ha chiamato l'Armageddon,
when war became so horrible,
quando la guerra sarebbe diventata così terribile
you would simply destroy yourselves.
che vi sareste semplicemente distrutti da soli.
We've said this before, you were well on your way to that.
E l'abbiamo già detto in passato, eravate davvero nella direzione giusta per tutto questo.
But in the late 80s, things changed.
Ma alla fine degli anni Ottanta le cose sono cambiate.
How many have put this together, that Kryon arrived in the late 80s?
Quanti hanno collegato il fatto che Kryon sia arrivato alla fine degli anni Ottanta?
I am a messenger for the shift.
Io sono un messaggero del cambiamento,
In love with humanity,
innamorato dell'umanità,
wanting to show you some great truths
e voglio mostrarvi grandi verità
that should ring in your heart with accuracy.
che risuoneranno nei vostri cuori con precisione.
The ancients predicted that if you made it past the year 2012, things would start to change.
Gli antichi hanno previsto che se avreste superato il 2012 le cose sarebbero iniziate a cambiare.
So many prophets talked about the end in these years.
Molti profeti hanno parlato della fine in questi anni.
I was with another culture recently,
Di recente sono stato con un'altra cultura
and I told them that there had been a multidimensional shift.
e ho detto loro che c'è stato un cambiamento multidimensionale.
They had in their akash some things for the planet as well.
Anche loro nella loro cascia portavano cose per il pianeta.
I tell you the same thing.
E dico a voi la stessa cosa.
The past does not dictate the future.
Il passato non decide il futuro.
This circle of time that my partner talks about,
Questo circolo di tempo di cui il mio partner parla,
that the scientists talk about,
di cui gli scienziati parlano,
this multidimensional time
questo tempo multidimensionale
has shifted.
è cambiato.
You are all on a new path now.
Tutti voi siete su un nuovo sentiero ora.
The old circle with the war, it's gone.
Il vecchio circolo pieno di guerre
It's
è
in
finito.
it's another book called Your History.
È in un altro libro che si chiama La vostra storia.
What happened in Europe over and over and over is history.
Ciò che è accaduto in passato in Europa moltissime volte, ripetutamente, fa parte della storia.
You're not going to pull it over the veil here and put it into the future and say, well, this is what we always did.
E non la trascinerete dal passato al futuro dicendo ok, questo è quello che abbiamo sempre fatto e così sarà in futuro.
What part do you play in that?
Che ruolo voi avete in tutto questo?
You see, you're specialists
Vedete, voi siete specializzati
in the Akash.
nella Kasha.
There, the system is already being seen in your art.
Il sistema è già visto nel vostro cuore.
What is it that you're going to be specialist in next?
In cosa sarete specializzati nel futuro?
Let me give you a hint.
Vi do un suggerimento.
Great art and great music all have something in common.
Tutta la grande musica e la grande arte ha in comune qualcosa.
Compassion.
La compassione.
Compassion.
La compassione.
Italians have been compassionate
Gli italiani sono pieni di compassione
for thousands of years,
da migliaia di anni,
even before there was an Italy.
anche prima che l'Italia esistesse.
You were painting and designing,
Voi dipingevate, creavate forme,
writing,
scrivevate,
studying.
studiavate.
This is your way.
Questo è il vostro sentiero, la vostra modalità.
The system is in place for you to repeat and repeat.
E c'è un sistema, una struttura esistente per voi affinché possiate ripetere questo.
And the biggest word is compassion.
E la grande parola, la chiave è la compassione.
What if I told you that Italy is where the compassion will be coming from?
E se vi dicessi che l'Italia è il luogo da cui verrà tutta la compassione
For creating new ways.
per creare nuove modalità?
Well, Kryon, I know we're good at painting, but I don't know about other things.
Kryon, lo so, siamo bravi a dipingere, ma non so se siamo bravi a fare altro.
So let me tell you about the problem.
Lasciate che io vi parli del problema.
You don't believe it.
Voi non ci credete.
Right here in this city, there is a beautiful story
In questa città c'è una bellissima storia
about an astronomer
che riguarda un astronomo
who made discoveries with his telescope
che ha fatto scoperte attraverso il suo telescopio
that changed the way science felt about Earth,
che hanno cambiato la maniera in cui la scienza
the
vedeva la
solar
Terra,
system, the sun.
il sistema solare, il Sole.
It was an exciting time for Galileo.
Tempi di entusiasmo per Galileo.
Like any good scientist, he published it.
E come qualsiasi buon scienziato, lui li ha pubblicati.
And that was a mistake.
E questo è stato un errore.
As good as the Italians were,
Per quanto bravi fossero gli italiani,
they thought they knew everything that was going to happen
pensavano di sapere tutto quello che sarebbe accaduto,
because they had a system.
perché avevano un sistema.
They knew art.
Conoscevano l'arte,
They knew worship,
conoscevano come pregare,
design, building.
sapevano come costruire, fare
All of
design.
these things, there was a system. Don't mess with the system.
In tutte queste cose c'era un sistema e non andate a distruggere il sistema, quindi.
And the system had it figured out.
E il sistema era come se conoscesse già tutto.
The role of the sun.
Il ruolo del Sole.
And Galileo
E Galileo
gave proof that it was different.
ha dimostrato che non era così.
This is the pitfall, dear ones.
Questa è la caduta, il problema.
Don't be so biased in your creativity that you think you know what you're going to create.
Non abbiate preconcetti nella vostra creatività così da pensare di sapere già cosa andrete a creare.
Now, isn't it interesting that Galileo was Italian, no?
Non è interessante che Galileo era italiano?
And Da Vinci,
E anche Da Vinci.
and all of that which followed, which was different than was before,
E tutto ciò che poi è seguito era diverso da quello che c'era stato prima.
finally accepted,
È stato accettato poi alla fine,
but it took a long time.
ma ci è voluto molto tempo.
Don't let the system dictate what you think is next.
Non lasciate che il sistema decida ciò che pensate che verrà in futuro.
My partner gave you a presentation today
Il mio partner oggi vi ha dato una presentazione, informazioni,
because of this.
proprio a causa di questo.
The very statement I've just made.
La frase che ho appena affermato,
You think you know what's next.
cioè che pensate di sapere ciò che verrà.
You're good at what you do.
Voi siete bravi a quello che fate.
Don't make up your mind what you think is going to happen.
Quindi cercate di non decidere quello che pensate che accadrà.
A creative society can be creative in so many other things.
Una società creativa può essere creativa in così tanti aspetti.
What about wisdom and philosophy?
E se parliamo di filosofia e saggezza
What about compassion?
e di compassione
What about compassion?
e di compassione,
What if you showed the world
se poteste fare vedere al mondo
a compassionate face
una faccia piena di compassione
that they cannot ignore?
che loro non potranno ignorare,
What if generations from now,
e se le generazioni future,
against all odds,
contro ogni probabilità,
you find a political system that you develop that everybody wants?
potrebbero trovare un sistema politico che sarete voi a sviluppare e che tutti vorranno.
Now, Italians, you're saying, now you're pushing it, Kryon. That's not going to happen.
Voi italiani adesso dite, Kryon sta andando troppo oltre, non accadrà.
That's the kind of creative compassion you have.
Questo è il tipo di compassione creativa che avete voi.
You've barely begun.
Avete appena cominciato.
That's what Italy has. That's so beautiful.
E questo è quello che ha l'Italia, è davvero molto bello.
I've spoken of this before.
E ne ho già parlato in passato.
It has to be a culture that has been here for a very long time,
Deve tutto partire da una cultura che è qui da molto tempo,
concentrating on one kind of thing.
che si concentra su un aspetto specifico.
Did you ever relate why there is so much construction of churches here?
Avete mai correlato il perché ci siano così tante chiese costruite qui?
It's the compassion of the master.
È la compassione del maestro,
It's the master of love. You
Il-
can't build enough.
il maestro dell'amore, e non potete mai costruirne
It can't be
troppo.
too big or too grand to say I love you, God.
Non possono essere troppo grandi o troppo alte per dire io ti amo, Dio.
There's no place on the planet that does that like you.
Non c'è alcun luogo sul pianeta che fa questo così bene come voi.
That's love.
Questo è amore,
That's compassion.
questa è compassione.
Dear ones, don't let what has happened shape what's going to happen.
Miei cari, non lasciate che ciò che è accaduto in passato crei ciò che accadrà.
Kryon, how can we do this?
Kryon, come facciamo a fare questo?
Some of us are stuck.
Alcuni di noi sono bloccati.
There's a layer on this land of old things.
In questa terra c'è uno strato di cose vecchie.
You're right.
È vero.
Your history is rich with old things.
La vostra storia è piena di cose vecchie.
Do we have to throw away our history?
Dobbiamo buttare via la nostra storia?
Oh, dear ones, your history has just begun.
No, cari, la vostra storia è appena
Oh, it's
cominciata.
beautiful.
È bellissima.
You have to throw it away.
Non potete buttarla via.
But how can you progress to the next level?
Ma come potete progredire al prossimo livello?
The first thing is, we've told you, you're going to have to believe it.
E la prima cosa, ve l'abbiamo detto, dovrete crederci.
Does this sound accurate or not?
Vi sembra accurato oppure no?
You're specialists in compassion,
Voi siete specializzati
and
nella
the
compassione.
presentation today showed you that compassion changes physics.
E la presentazione di oggi vi ha fatto vedere che la compassione cambia la fisica.
Think of what you can do.
Pensate a ciò che potete fare.
How do you start?
Come potete
How do you
cominciare?
begin?
Come iniziare?
I want you to start being compassionate with everything right now
Voglio che iniziate a essere compassionevoli verso tutto ora,
that is difficult.
verso tutto ciò che è difficile.
I'm not going to list it.
Non farò una lista.
You know what I'm talking about.
Voi sapete di cosa sto parlando.
What are the problems in the country,
Quali sono i problemi nel paese,
in your family,
nella vostra famiglia,
with each other?
gli uni con gli altri?
Could you turn that around by compassionate thinking?
Potete cambiare tutto questo attraverso il pensiero compassionevole.
You are old souls,
Voi siete anime antiche
having participated in some of the beautiful things of the planet for so long.
che partecipano da tantissimo tempo a cose bellissime accadute sul
Hasn't been a
pianeta.
lot of suffering here.
C'è stata molta sofferenza qui
Specialist in compassion.
e siete specializzati nella compassione
You should be able to do that.
e dovreste essere in grado di fare questo.
Not too long ago,
Non tanto tempo fa
I sat in my partner's country, the United States,
ero nel paese del mio partner, gli Stati Uniti,
And I challenged them.
e li ho sfidati.
I said, light worker,
Ho detto, operatori di luce,
how much compassion do you have?
quanta compassione avete?
Can you take light and put it in the White House?
Potete prendere la luce e metterla nella Casa Bianca.
Can you shine light in that place where your president has to walk?
Potete irradiare luce in quel luogo dove il vostro presidente cammina.
Can you dismiss everything else except the beauty of the compassion?
Potete lasciare andare tutte le altre cose a parte la bellezza della compassione.
Put politics away
Mettete da parte la politica,
and anger away
mettete da parte la rabbia
and sorrow away.
e il dolore, mettetelo da parte.
Convert it to compassion.
Convertitevi alla compassione
And you start putting it in your family and in your government
e cominciate a metterla nella vostra famiglia, nel vostro governo
and wherever there are issues.
e ovunque ci siano problemi.
You are specialists in compassion.
Voi siete specializzati nella compassione.
You're the lighthouse
Voi siete il faro
of Europe.
dell'Europa
And there will be others who will study what you do
e ci saranno altri che studieranno quello che state facendo
and learn to smile and have joy
e impareranno a sorridere e a provare gioia
without feeling that it is wrong.
senza sentire che stanno sbagliando
Who will understand you're not here to suffer.
e che capiranno che siete qui non per soffrire,
You're here to experience the love of God
ma per fare esperienza dell'amore di Dio,
because it's inside you.
perché è dentro di voi.
Dear Italian,
Cari italiani,
you have so much here
avete davvero così tanto qui
that speaks of the love of the Creator,
che parla dell'amore del Creatore,
the beauty of God.
la bellezza di Dio.
Specialists you are.
Voi siete specializzati.
See what you do with that,
Vedete cosa potete fare con questo?
where you go with that.
Dove potete andare con questo?
It's going to change your life.
Cambierà la vostra vita
How you think will change your life.
e il modo in cui pensate cambierà la vostra vita
And you don't have to do it alone
e non dovete farlo da soli
because you've got God inside.
perché avete Dio dentro di voi.
The angels that surround you will always surround you as long as you live.
Gli angeli che vi circondano vi circonderanno sempre finché vivrete
Perhaps it's time to see them.
e forse è giunta l'ora di vederli.
And so it is.
E così è.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service.
Saluti miei cari, sono Kryon del servizio magnetico.
I have some information for you.
Ho delle informazioni per voi
You need to hear it.
e dovete sentirle.
It's time to hear it.
È giunta l'ora di sentirle
And you won't believe it.
e non ci crederete.
You won't believe it because there is a history of what you've been taught that's different.
Non ci crederete perché c'è una storia, quello che vi è stato raccontato è diverso,
Oh, but it's time to hear it.
ma è giunta l'ora di sentirlo.
This isn't just for Italians,
E questo non è solo per gli italiani,
but especially for Italians.
ma soprattutto per gli italiani
It's for everyone listening.
e per chiunque stia in ascolto.
I want to tell you about your soul.
Voglio parlarvi della vostra anima.
I want to tell you how large it is.
Voglio dirvi quanto grande sia.
What do you say when somebody says, "Tell me about your soul"?
Cosa rispondete quando qualcuno vi chiede parlatemi della vostra anima?
You would say, well, somehow I have one,
Dite ok, in qualche modo ne ho una
and when I die, it continues.
e quando morirò continuerà.
And if I said, is that you or is that your soul?
E se vi chiedo questo siete voi o la vostra anima?
And you would say, I'm not really sure.
E voi rispondereste non sono molto sicuro.
And I might ask, well, what part does your soul play right now with you?
E posso chiedervi che ruolo sta giocando la vostra anima con voi ora?
And you might say, well, I'm not sure.
E potreste rispondere non sono sicuro.
I'm going to give you the information of the ancients.
Vi darò le informazioni dagli antichi,
Long before you were told anything else.
molto prima di qualsiasi cosa che vi sia stata raccontata.
Spiritual logic, listen.
La logica spirituale, ascoltate.
If you have God inside,
Se avete Dio dentro,
your soul is then part of that God.
la vostra anima allora è parte di quel Dio.
That's part of the peace of God that you carry with you.
Fa parte del pezzetto di Dio che portate in voi.
Now, how old is God?
Quanto è vecchio Dio?
And you might say, well, there is no beginning and there's no end. God is forever.
Risponderete, non c'è inizio, non c'è fine, Dio è per sempre.
But you're not?
E voi no?
What is limiting about this?
Che cos'è limitante riguardo a questo?
If you are a piece of the creative source,
Se voi siete un pezzetto della sorgente della creazione,
you have no beginning and no end.
voi non avete né inizio né fine.
That is the definition of your soul.
Questa è la definizione della vostra anima.
It existed long before the earth.
Esisteva ancora prima della terra.
It will exist long after the earth.
Esisterà molto più a lungo dopo la terra.
Dear ones, the sacred part of you is from the other side of the veil, where God is.
Miei cari, la parte sacra di voi viene dall'altra parte del velo, è lì che c'è Dio.
Is that big enough for you?
È grande abbastanza per voi.
And some of you are saying, I don't believe that.
E alcuni di voi diranno, io non ci credo.
Tell me what you believe.
Ditemi in cosa
Well,
credete.
I believe what I was told.
Credo in ciò che mi è stato detto.
What was that?
E che cos'era?
That somehow magically you got a soul when you were born?
Che in qualche modo in maniera magica avete ricevuto un'anima quando siete nati?
And that after you die, somehow it's going to be judged.
E che dopo la morte in qualche modo verrà giudicata?
And the God that created love itself
E che il Dio che ha creato l'amore stesso
will then take that soul of yours and punish it forever.
prenderà questa vostra anima e la punirà per sempre?
Is that logical?
Questo è logico.
Would you do that to your children?
Lo fareste con i vostri figli?
No.
No.
And God will not do that to
E
you.
Dio non farà questo a voi.
The creative source is love and compassion, and that's all it is.
La sorgente creativa è amore e compassione. È tutto questo.
With a language of light that is higher than anything you can ever hear or see.
Con il linguaggio di luce che è più alto di qualsiasi cosa possiate mai vedere o sentire.
Inside you is that spark.
Questa scintilla è dentro di voi.
And in your entire life, with free choice, you're asked to find the spark.
E in tutta la vostra vita con libero arbitrio voi chiedete di trovare questa scintilla.
Could this really be true?
Può essere davvero così?
Oh, I've only begun.
Ho appena cominciato.
Because what I'm going to tell you now, no one has told you.
Perché quello che vi sto per dire nessuno ve l'ha mai detto.
Not really.
Davvero non così.
You are so much bigger than anything you've ever been told.
Voi siete davvero molto più grandi di qualsiasi cosa vi sia mai stata detta.
God knows your name
Dio conosce il vostro nome,
because you are a part of God.
perché voi siete una parte di Dio.
When you're not here, you're with God.
Voi non siete qui, siete con Dio.
You're in an interdimensional, multidimensional place you can't even fathom.
Siete in un luogo multidimensionale che non potete neppure immaginare.
You can hear light.
Voi potete sentire la luce.
There's a constant song playing on the other side of the veil. You know it.
C'è un canto costante dall'altra parte del velo e voi lo conoscete.
Did you know that God is a benevolent, cheerful, joyful God?
Sapevate che Dio è un Dio benevolente, pieno di gioia?
Did you know that if you could assign any kind of an emotion at all to God,
E se potete assegnare a Dio qualsiasi tipo di emozione,
if you could,
se potete,
if God has emotions,
se Dio ha emozioni,
it would be joy.
questa sarebbe la gioia.
Joy.
Gioia.
And that's what you've always been invited to find.
Ed è da sempre che avete l'invito a trovare, a scoprire questo.
But that's not all.
Ma non è tutto.
Prepare for something you didn't expect.
Preparatevi a sentire qualcosa che non vi
You
aspettavate.
may not believe it.
Forse non ci crederete.
Maybe you'll remember this channel for a long time
Forse ricorderete questa canalizzazione a lungo,
because of its unusual information.
a causa di queste informazioni inusuali.
Oh, human being, you're so linear.
Esseri umani, siete così lineari.
There is a beautiful system here,
C'è un bellissimo sistema qui.
one that perhaps you've never heard about.
Uno che forse non conoscete, non ne avete mai sentito parlare.
It is so different from anything that's linear.
Ed è molto diverso da qualsiasi cosa che sia lineare.
Did you know that your soul has many parts?
Sapevate che la vostra anima ha molte parti?
What?
Cosa?
My soul is my soul.
La mia anima è la mia anima?
Yes, it is.
Sì, lo è.
I told you your soul is a piece of the Creator.
Vi ho detto, la vostra anima è un pezzetto del Creatore.
Your soul isn't linear.
La vostra anima non è
It isn't
lineare,
human.
non è umana.
It's a part of that which is created multidimensionally. It's in you.
È parte di ciò che è creato in maniera multidimensionale ed è in voi.
Let me ask you something.
Vi voglio chiedere una cosa.
Did you ever think how God can hear prayer?
Avete mai pensato alla maniera in cui Dio riesce ad ascoltare le preghiere?
Tens of thousands of people all praying at the same time.
Migliaia di persone che pregano allo stesso tempo.
How can God hear all that?
Come può Dio ascoltare tutto questo?
And the answer?
E la risposta?
The Creator is not linear.
Il Creatore non è lineare.
Each one of you has a direct source to God.
Ognuno di voi ha una sorgente diretta, una connessione diretta con Dio.
It's so hard to imagine, isn't it?
È molto difficile da immaginare, no?
The full attention of the angels and the Creator on you when you're in prayer.
La piena attenzione degli angeli e del Creatore su di voi mentre pregate.
There may be 10,000 other voices around you all praying.
E ci potrebbero essere 10.000 altre voci attorno a voi, tutte che stanno pregando.
Every single one of them is heard individually.
E ognuna di esse è ascoltata individualmente.
How does God do that?
Come fa Dio a fare questo?
You don't understand multidimensionality or there would be no problem.
Voi non comprendete ancora la multidimensionalità, altrimenti non avreste problemi a capire questo.
So if that's the attribute of God,
Se questo è l'attributo di Dio,
why do you think your soul is simply singular?
come mai pensate che la vostra anima sia semplicemente una?
It just sits there being a soul.
Rimane lì soltanto essendo un'anima.
Perhaps the only time it's activated is when you leave.
E forse l'unico momento in cui viene attivata è quando ve ne andate.
Well, I'm going to enhance your belief.
Beh, potenzierò la vostra credenza
And I hope it makes sense to you.
e spero abbia senso per voi.
Your soul is so many places, dear ones.
La vostra anima è in molti posti, cari,
Just like God is many places.
proprio come Dio è in molti luoghi.
Have you ever heard of the higher self?
Avete mai sentito parlare del sé
Each one of
superiore?
you has a higher self.
Ognuno di voi ha un sé superiore.
Where is it?
Dov'è?
Well, you say, well, it represents my full sacredness.
Voi rispondereste, rappresenta la mia piena sacralità.
Is it part of your soul?
Fa parte della vostra anima?
It has to be. It's the higher part of my soul.
Deve essere così, è la parte più alta della mia anima.
Where is your soul?
Dov'è la vostra anima?
Well, somehow my soul is with me.
Beh, in qualche modo la mia anima è con me.
Where's your higher self?
Dov'è il tuo sé superiore?
Well, somehow my higher self is not with me. It's higher.
In qualche modo il mio sé superiore non è con me, è più in alto.
How many pieces do you have?
Quante
Dear one?
parti avete, miei cari?
Do you see where this is going?
Vedete dove stiamo andando?
There's two pieces of your soul right there.
Ci sono due pezzi della vostra anima
There's a part of sacredness that's with you all the time.
e una parte di sacralità che è con voi il tempo intero.
Lives with you.
Vive con voi.
You may even say it's in your DNA.
Potete perfino dire che si trova nel vostro DNA.
There's another part of your soul that's on the other side of the veil all the time.
E un'altra parte della vostra anima che è dall'altra parte del velo il tempo intero.
It's the higher self.
È il sé superiore.
It's the part that comes in when needed and heals and loves.
La parte che entra e diventa attivata quando c'è bisogno di guarigione e ama.
Oh, there are so many parts.
Ci sono tantissime
Why
parti.
would you ever limit yourself to one part?
Perché vi dovreste limitare ad una sola parte?
God is not singular.
Dio non è singolo.
God does not have one little part.
Dio non è solo una piccola parte.
Oh, neither do you.
E neanche voi.
Your humanness, your biology is one thing.
La vostra umanità, la vostra biologia è una cosa sola.
Look in the mirror, one face all your life.
Guardatevi allo specchio, una faccia per tutta la vita.
Oh, but your soul touches the face of God.
Ma la vostra anima tocca il volto di Dio
Listens to every prayer, every meditation, every sorrow, every
e
joy.
ascolta ogni preghiera, ogni meditazione, ogni dolore e ogni gioia.
When you want to be alone with God,
Quando volete stare soli con Dio,
God is alone with you.
Dio resta solo con voi.
Isn't it beautiful
Non è bello
to have that kind of attention?
avere questo tipo di attenzione?
That's the grandness of God.
Questa è la grandezza di Dio.
Get ready,
Preparatevi,
for I have something to tell you.
perché ho qualcosa da dirvi.
If you have one soul,
Se avete un'anima,
even if it has many parts,
anche se ha in sé molte parti,
and if that one soul is eternal,
e se questa anima è eterna,
that means that it takes turns with the physical body.
questo significa che fa i turni col corpo fisico.
When you come back to the planet, dear ones, you got the same soul.
Quindi quando tornate sul pianeta, miei cari, avete la stessa anima.
When you were here before,
Quando eravate qui prima,
you had the same soul.
avevate la stessa anima.
The human body doesn't last that long, dear one.
Il corpo umano non dura così a lungo, miei cari,
God knows that.
e Dio lo sa.
Oh, so there's a system for you.
Quindi per voi c'è un sistema.
And you never really heard about this, not really.
E non ne avete mai davvero sentito parlare.
It's time to tell you the truth.
Ma è giunta l'ora di dirvi la verità.
And for some of you, this is going to ring true.
E per alcuni di voi risuonerà vero.
It'll explain so much.
Spiegherà moltissime cose.
And to others, you'll go, no, I don't think so.
E per altri invece voi direte no, non penso sia così.
If I'm going to tell this story correctly,
Se racconterò questa storia in maniera corretta,
I'm going to use a metaphor,
utilizzerò una metafora,
a parable.
una parabola.
The parables often center around a human named Woe.
Le parabole spesso sono incentrate su un umano che si chiama Woe.
And we put woe through stories so that you can see what's really taking place.
E lo mettiamo all'interno di storie così che voi possiate comprendere
Woe.
cosa accade.
Woe is just like you.
Woe è uno come voi.
Woe is not a man or a woman.
Lui non è né un uomo né una donna.
He's a woe man.
È un uomo, un essere umano Woe.
So put your name there.
Quindi invece di Woe metteteci il vostro nome.
I want to take you to Woe's bedroom.
Voglio portarvi nella camera da letto di Woe.
He's not feeling very well.
Lui non si sta sentendo bene.
He's had some trouble breathing lately.
Ha avuto dei problemi con la respirazione di recente.
Hasn't had a lot of energy.
Non ha molta energia da un po'.
Woe is at the end of his years.
Lui è alla fine dei suoi giorni,
So he takes it slow.
quindi prende tutto con calma.
Woe goes to sleep.
Woe va a letto
At about 3 o'clock he awakens.
e alle 3 di mattina si sveglia.
Something's different.
Qualcosa è diverso.
He feels different.
Si sente diverso.
Woe opens his eyes and
Lui apre i suoi occhi
who turned on the light?
e dice: chi ha acceso la luce?
The light is on.
La luce è accesa
And he feels so good.
e si sente così bene.
Wow.
Wow,
He can breathe.
riesce a respirare.
Feels wonderful.
Si sente benissimo.
Woe gets out of bed,
Lui si alza
starts to walk around,
e inizia a camminare
and he looks back at the bed.
e guarda il letto
And he's still there.
e lui è ancora là.
Woe has just passed over.
Woe è appena morto.
Can this be true?
Può essere vero?
What is it like?
Come avviene?
All of you have been through it.
Tutti voi ci siete passati.
What is it like?
Com'è?
Dear ones, I'll tell you again, death has no sting, it doesn't hurt.
Cari, ve lo dico di nuovo, la morte non ha macchie, non
There's
fa
no
male.
sting of death, it doesn't hurt.
Non c'è dolore nella morte, non fa male.
Not when you pass in your sleep, it doesn't.
No, quando morite durante il sonno non fa male.
I want to talk to you about your soul before we talk any more about woe.
Voglio parlarvi della vostra anima prima di andare avanti con la storia di Woe.
What was woe told about his soul next? What's going to happen next?
Cosa è stato detto a Woe riguardo alla sua anima? Cosa sarebbe successo poi, dopo la morte?
Woe expects to be taken someplace and judged, perhaps.
Lui forse si aspetta di essere portato in qualche luogo ed essere giudicato, forse.
He doesn't know.
Lui non lo sa,
He just doesn't remember this part.
non si ricorda questa parte,
Neither do you.
e neanche voi.
Most belief systems have a system of death.
La maggior parte dei sistemi di credenze hanno un sistema per la morte.
They say it takes at least 3 days for the soul to leave the body and go wherever it goes.
Dicono che servano almeno 3 giorni affinché l'anima lasci il corpo e vada dove deve andare.
In some systems, it's critical that you do not bury or cremate for at least 3 days.
In alcuni sistemi è importantissimo non seppellire il corpo né essere cremati per almeno 3 giorni.
3 days.
3 giorni.
We've told you about the 3 days.
E vi abbiamo già parlato dei 3 giorni.
They're right.
Hanno ragione.
Isn't it interesting that so many beliefs have this?
Non è interessante che molte credenze abbiano la stessa cosa?
It takes 3 days to adjust
Ci servono 3 giorni per adattarci,
from going from the human condition
per passare dalla condizione umana
back to that which is God itself.
di nuovo a quello che è Dio.
3 days.
3 giorni.
Woe feels very good.
Wow, si sente molto bene,
He's not going anywhere, though.
però non sta andando da nessuna parte.
Nobody has come to get him.
Nessuno è venuto a prenderlo,
But boy, he sees light. He sees the light.
ma lui vede la luce.
It's like everyone turned on a light that is so beautiful.
È come se tutti avessero acceso una bellissima luce.
Woe is starting to see colors he's never seen.
E Wow comincia a vedere colori che non aveva mai visto.
Starts to hear the music, dear one.
Comincia a sentire la musica, miei cari.
You might call it music from heaven.
Potreste chiamarla musica paradisiaca,
It isn't.
ma non lo è.
It's music from home.
È musica che viene da casa,
For Woe's soul has always been home.
poiché l'anima di Wow è a casa da sempre
It only comes to earth for a little while at a time.
e viene sulla terra solo per un po'.
Woe hears the door open in the room,
Wow sente che la porta si apre nella stanza
and in comes Woe's woman, his life partner.
e dalla porta entra la sua compagna di vita,
And discovers Woe.
e scopre Wow.
Such sorrow.
Tanto dolore,
Crying.
piange.
She leaves, she calls, brings the children.
Lei esce, chiama, porta i bambini, i figli.
There is sorrow, there's wailing.
C'è dolore, c'è lamento.
Woe's gone.
Wow è andato,
But Woe isn't gone.
ma lui non è davvero andato.
He's there.
È là
He says, wait a minute.
e dice aspettate un attimo.
Wait a minute, dear one. Dear life's partner. Wait a minute, I'm here.
Aspetta, compagna, sono qui.
Please, I'm here.
Per favore, sono qui.
It can't be heard.
Ma non lo sentono,
Can't be heard.
non lo sentono.
One of the biggest frustrations of the soul
Una delle più grandi frustrazioni dell'anima
is to be in an interdimensional place where he cannot be heard.
è trovarsi in un luogo interdimensionale dal quale non può essere ascoltata.
He wants to say to his children, I'm not gone.
Ma vuole dire ai suoi figli, non sono
Maybe I'm
andato.
not in my body, but I'm not gone.
Magari non sono nel mio corpo, ma non sono
I'm here,
andato.
I'm
Sono qui.
here, I'm here, I'm
Sono
here,
qui.
I'm here.
Io sono qui.
In those 3 days, interesting things happen to Woe.
In quei 3 giorni cose interessanti accadono a Wow.
He feels he starts to have a multidimensional sorting, a splitting.
Sente che sta attraversando una separazione multidimensionale
And then he starts to remember,
e poi inizia a ricordare.
oh, I've done this before.
"Oh, l'ho già fatto prima.
Something beautiful is about to happen.
Qualcosa di bellissimo sta per accadere.
And here's what it is that you're not going to believe.
Ed ecco qui che cosa accade, voi non ci crederete.
Part of Woe's soul splits apart.
Una parte dell'anima di Wow si
And
divide
some of it continues the journey
e una parte continua il viaggio
to the other side of the veil.
verso l'altra parte del velo
And some of it stays on the earth.
e un'altra parte rimane sulla terra
And it splits even further.
e si divide ancora più in altre maniere.
You can't call it a split.
Ma non possiamo chiamarla separazione o divisione.
Is God split when he listens to 10,000 people at a time?
Chiedetevi, Dio si divide quando ascolta 10.000 persone alla volta?
No.
No,
That's just the way God is.
Dio è semplicemente così.
The soul doesn't split either.
Quindi neanche l'anima si separa o
It is
divide.
in many places at the same time, doing many things.
È in molti luoghi allo stesso tempo facendo molte cose.
Your soul right now is doing many things.
La vostra anima in questo istante sta facendo molte cose
You're not aware of it, dear one.
E voi non ne siete al corrente, miei cari.
You're only having 4 dimensions here.
Qui avete solo 4 dimensioni.
Let me tell you what happened next to Woe.
Lasciate che io vi dica cosa accade poi a Woe.
Part of his soul split
Una parte della sua anima si è divisa, separata,
and stayed with his beautiful wife.
ed è rimasta con la sua bellissima moglie.
The other part split and stayed with his children.
L'altra parte si è separata ed è rimasta con i suoi figli.
And that soul stayed with them till the end of their days.
E questa parte della sua anima è rimasta con loro fino alla fine dei loro giorni.
Listen to me.
Ascoltatemi.
Those you've loved and lost are still here.
Coloro che avete amato e perduto sono ancora qui.
Some of you can even smell them at certain times.
Alcuni di voi perfino ne può sentire l'odore a
You
volte.
know what their clothes smell like.
Riconoscete l'odore dei loro vestiti.
Some of you can still hear their voice.
Alcuni di voi riescono ancora a sentire le loro voci.
And then some of them come to you in your dreams.
E alcuni vengono a voi nei vostri sogni.
Oh, it's so real.
È surreale.
And they hug you and hold you,
E vi abbracciano e vi tengono stretti.
tell you you're loved.
Vi dicono che voi siete amati.
And they say, I'm still here.
E vi dicono io sono ancora qua.
In your dreams, the most multidimensional state you have,
Nei vostri sogni, che è lo stato più multidimensionale che voi avete,
you can meet him.
potete incontrarli.
Woe gave up saying, I'm still here.
Woe ha gettato la spugna e non dice più io sono ancora qui.
And his soul matured and he realized what was next.
E la sua anima è maturata e si è reso conto di quello che sarebbe poi avvenuto.
He stayed with the loved ones that he left behind for the end of their days.
È rimasto con i suoi cari per la fine dei loro giorni, fino alla fine dei loro giorni.
He was always there,
Lui è rimasto sempre lì con loro,
just in case they wanted to reach out and talk to him or speak to him.
nel caso un giorno avessero voluto parlare con lui.
Have you ever spoken to those you've lost?
Avete mai parlato con coloro che avete perduto?
Mom, I wish you were here. Dad, I wish you were here.
Mamma, papà, vorrei che voi foste qui.
Oh, there is an answer.
C'è una risposta
It's whispered in the winds
ed è sussurrata nel vento,
of the universe.
il vento dell'universo.
We're still here.
Noi siamo ancora qui.
Can you believe it?
Ci credete?
Are you ready for this information?
Siete pronti per questa
Does it
informazione?
ring true to you?
Vi risuona vera?
The system of benevolence is here,
Il sistema di benevolenza è qui
not a system of judgment,
e non un sistema di giudizio,
a system of glory.
un sistema di gloria.
The love of God is shared and shared and shared again
L'amore di Dio è condiviso costantemente,
by letting you keep the essence of those you've lost.
facendo sì che voi possiate mantenere l'essenza di coloro che avete perduto.
Now here, this is confusing.
E ora, lo so, ascoltate, questo può confondervi.
Do you believe in past lives?
Voi credete nelle vite passate?
Well, that means that you have passed over
Beh, questo significa che anche voi siete già morti,
before this life.
prima di questa vita.
Is it possible
È possibile
that a part of your soul is still with others that used to be your family?
che una parte della vostra anima sia ancora con altre persone che in passato erano la vostra famiglia?
Oh, Kryon, that is just too confusing.
Kryon, questo ci confonde davvero troppo.
And so is God listening to 10,000 prayers at the same time.
E così confonde Dio che ascolta allo stesso tempo 10.000 preghiere.
Old soul,
Anime antiche,
your soul is busy
la vostra anima è molto occupata,
giving and caring to families in the past,
dando e prendendosi cura della famiglia del passato,
receiving from those you've lost,
ricevendo da coloro che avete perso.
a system that is grand beyond belief.
Un sistema così grandioso oltre ogni tipo di credenza.
Let the angels sing right now with the truth of what I'm telling you.
Lasciate che ora gli angeli cantino con la verità che vi sto
I
dicendo.
want you to go from this place
E voglio che voi andate via da questo luogo
differently than you came.
diversi da come siete venuti.
And I want you to test it
E voglio che testiate tutto questo.
when you're alone.
Quando sarete soli,
When you're alone.
quando sarete soli,
I don't want you to be in sorrow.
non voglio che voi siate nel dolore.
I want you to start with joy.
Voglio che voi iniziate tutto con la gioia.
Thinking of the way they were when they were alive.
Pensate alla maniera in cui erano quando erano vivi,
What they gave to you.
tutto quello che vi hanno dato.
That develops a compassion of belief.
E questo sviluppa una compassione della credenza.
It starts to allow you to see and feel what you can't really see at 4 dimension.
E vi permette di vedere e sentire quello che in realtà non potete vedere e sentire nelle 4 dimensioni.
Might even reach out your hand and say, "Thank you for being with me.
E potete perfino stendere la vostra mano e dire grazie per essere con me.
I hear you.
Io ti sento.
When you say I'm still here, I hear you."
Quando dici o dite sono ancora qui, io vi sento.
And feel it.
E sentite.
Let that be your proof
Lasciate che questa sia la vostra prova
that there is so much you were never told
del fatto che c'è davvero molto più di quello che vi è stato detto,
about how grand the human being is.
soprattutto riguardo a quanto sia grandioso l'essere umano.
A beautiful system.
Un bellissimo sistema.
Italian.
Italiani,
Remember, you're specialists, aren't you?
ricordate, voi siete degli specialisti,
Specialists in compassion.
specialisti della compassione.
That means you may feel this before others
E questo significa che potreste sentire tutto questo prima ancora di altri,
if you give allowance for it.
se date il permesso a tutto questo,
Not what you were told,
non a quello che vi è stato detto,
but what you feel
ma a ciò che voi sentite
in your heart.
nel vostro cuore.
Become a little multidimensional today.
Diventate un po' più multidimensionali oggi.
Test this.
Testate tutto questo.
Use spiritual logic instead of that which you were told the rules are of God.
La vostra logica spirituale invece di quello che vi è stato detto, perché le regole sono di Dio.
If there's God in you,
Se c'è Dio in voi,
you'll feel this.
voi sentirete questo.
And that is the message of Kryon
E questo è il messaggio di Kryon
for humanity,
per l'umanità,
for you.
per voi,
So much bigger than you ever thought you were.
che siete così molto più grandi di quello che pensavate di essere.
I want you to be filled with joy
Voglio che voi siate pieni di gioia
at this information, not sadness or sorrow.
grazie a questa informazione, non di dolore o di
And when you're
tristezza.
when you're alone,
E quando sarete soli,
wow,
wow,
I never thought that.
non l'avrei mai pensato.
Thank you, God,
Grazie Dio
for being bigger than I thought.
per essere più grandi di quello che io pensavo.
Go from this place changed.
Andate via da questo posto cambiati.
It's your free choice, isn't it?
La scelta è vostra, vostro libero arbitrio.
It really is your free choice.
È proprio il vostro libero arbitrio.
Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic
E così è.
Service. Again, I sit in front of a small group which has become family. You've now been exposed to a great deal of information in these days we've been together. Yesterday, you were exposed to a culture. That is, the Italians were in the seminar along with you. You got to feel and see, perhaps, cultural response instead of personal response in a small group. All of these things are cumulative. That is to say, they go into your psyche, and at some level, they help you to make decisions. Decisions just for you about integrity, light, the things that touch you, the things that are most important to you. And yet all of them wrap into one piece of information. And that is, how do you see your relationship to the Creator? And hopefully this is beginning to become sharper in that which is your decisions. And what I mean by sharper, I mean clearer, more in focus. And in that, I would like to encourage you not to make up rules. And that is to say, when things get clearer for you about your relationship to the Creator, don't make a list. For there is no list that you could possibly make that would be as grand as what your heart feels. The soul that has your name on it right now in your body in this lifetime has a unique formula for the relationship of you with God. That means that there is no organization or system that is ever going to be able to fulfill everything for you. The relationship to that which is the Creator is not like taking a generic pill. There is no one size fits all. You are so absolutely unique, totally unique. And this is driven by how many times you've been here. What have you done? What have you learned along the way? What fears have you walked through? So many of the things that are common to you are fearful to others. And that's because you have dealt with this. You have slayed the dragon of your own fears in so many ways. And here you are rubbing shoulders with others yet to do those things, and yet they have slayed dragons that you have not. These are metaphors of walking through puzzles and fears and things that perhaps you can help one another in. That's why the family creates bigger light when they're together than alone. And this should simply be spiritual logic. What you can do together to create a compassionate wave for this planet and those pieces and parts of the planet is amazing. More than you could do alone. And when you have a like mind of coherence, it's almost like you combine the experiences of your Akash. And that combination is a super soul, if you want to call it that, with super light, if you want to call it that, which is able to put light in places on this planet that need it so much, that perhaps have not seen it before. And that leads us right to the crux to this message. It's really difficult to tell any group of people, those listening or those here, about something which is a brand new paradigm, something that has not existed before. And what makes it so difficult is that the bias of history is still upon humanity. Humans still expect the past to drive the future. And if somebody said, what's going to happen to the planet tomorrow, they would gather up their history books and say, well, here is what history says we normally do. And that is a bias, because that is not what you're going to do. You will not be revisiting the old energy. In fact, the thing that really changes is the balance of dark and light. Now, we have said this so many times, and yet it is a concept which still is difficult for some. So I'm going to give it again in a way that perhaps you can understand. All through your life, human nature has been human nature. And I mean by that, you expect things, you know things, and things are a certain way. And in that, there are always contests, for instance, with politics, or corporation, or even friends with friends, or family. And there's always been a slogan, a saying, an axiom that says this: nice guys finish last. And you know what I'm talking about. That you have to be a certain way. You have to push a certain way. You have to step on people a certain way. You have to insult your way to the top. You have to make so much noise that people will push you to the top just to get rid of you. And that, dear humans, is an old paradigm. It's an old paradigm of every system that you have on the planet that would apply to. Because suddenly, that doesn't apply. And slowly, you're going to see something on the planet, country to country, human to human, system to system, and that is this, that integrity will start to show itself and be as strong as any force that has ever guided humanity. You are already starting to see it. The planet is starting to honor those with integrity. I've said this before. Can you imagine a political contest where the one wins who is the one with the most compassion for the other candidate, for the one who would never insult them, for the one perhaps even when they campaign would bring the other name up and said, this person is a good person. I believe I can do things better than this person, but that doesn't make them wrong. This person deserves to be in the race because they're good at what they do. And where have you ever had that happen? And the answer is not very often. And when it gets to the top, the highest leadership of the highest leadership, the insults fly. Lives are ruined in the process. People are stepped on in the process. And that, dear ones, you're going to watch modify itself. And I'm telling you, there'll come a day when those with the highest integrity and compassion, the nice guys and gals, are the ones that the public will put in charge. And they can't fake it. They cannot fake it. They cannot say one thing and do another, not in this day and this age. So light is beginning to show itself in such a different way that you're going to see leadership not just elected, but appointed. Start being appointed because the light wins. You're going to see people gradually elevated to higher places that can do magnificent things because they are compassionate and they care. And it's going to switch the way you think things work. It has already begun. There are those who are specialists in corporate consciousness, looking at how things are approached in order to help one another, to help those in the corporation, to help the customers. So everything is a win-win situation in everyday life of selling and buying. This goes with trade organizations, political organizations. You're going to see it move country to country. You're going to see benevolence win over arrogance. You're going to see benevolence in things you never thought before. There will be countries brought to their knees because they're not in integrity. And the rest of the world looks at them and says, when are you going to get it? We want honesty. We want integrity. We want peace. And if you can't give us that, you don't deserve to lead at all. And that's new. And that's never occurred on this planet. And you know it hasn't. Because it's not the basis of human nature. The basis of human nature has given you war after war after war. We sit in a place that is unusual. And I will say it again because I've said it in this very place, in this room, at this table before. That Francis of Assisi had light. He was a forerunner, a wild card. He showed so much integrity and light to others around him that even priests in the church were won over by his purity. Can you imagine such an energy? Some of you felt it as you drove into this and you looked at the fields and you said, this is different. I feel different. Something's here. It's not an accident that this is the area he chose, for the ancients have been here. In this place, feeling this energy, knowing it's a perfect place to generate new paradigms of peace and compassion. And St. Francis did that without credentials, without ordainment. He was a natural for God. And the integrity he put above doctrine. And he took the Pope to task over non-integrity issues. And what he asked for, he got. He got his hospital. He got the Pope to change the way the Pope did things. He changed the world. And he did it with light. Now, a wild card on the planet can do those kinds of things, but you'd say, well, an ordinary human being has difficulty. And you'd be right, especially in his time. But now you come to the shift, and suddenly the wild card's light is your light, for it's seen differently, works differently, and changes the planet. Watch for these things. It's slow, dear ones, slow. Slower than you want. But the earth will start to respond to benevolence, to compassion, to honesty, to integrity, to moves of peace, putting together instead of tearing apart, making differences between countries, and figuring things out that don't work now, instead of simply cutting off from the others. There was a time, dear ones, when you couldn't solve an issue, and so you went to war. Or you couldn't solve an issue, so you simply backed out and ignored the other one. You can't. You really can't. It'll be shown soon even how this works or doesn't work. There are puzzles within all things coming that have solutions that were never there before. I'm telling you, there are solutions to problems that you think are unsolvable. And the difference? A different paradigm that people have not thought would ever work, where the good guys win. That is what you're facing on the planet. But dear ones, it has to start with you. And that's what you're facing at home and individually and with each other. Understanding, tolerance, and expecting benevolent things in your life. This is the light that's going to spread from human to human to human. The children and the grandchildren will look at you and they will see change. They will see that you are compassionate, the way you talk about others, the way you behave yourselves in difficult situations, how you handle issues and problems, how you treat them as equal human beings created by God. These are new. And this, dear ones, is the answer to peace on earth. It's only begun since 2012, brand new, babes in the woods, on a learning curve that you've never been on before. But you're sitting in the right place to feel the results of it. Most of you do. You don't feel Francis, you don't feel the churches. You feel the energy that is here, of the wild card, of purity, of light, of changing the planet. one human at a time. And so it is. Greetings, dear ones. I'm Kryon of Magnetic Service. They say that this is the farewell channel. It is not. It is interesting about the multidimensional aspects of consciousness and love, of compassion and remembrance. All of them carry energies that are not fleeting or transparent. They're physical. You can go and call up a memory and feel it all again. It's not gone. If it were gone, you couldn't do that. It etches itself somewhere, supposedly in your brain, but dear ones, it's part of a conscious remembrance. What you do, what you felt. If it's significant enough, you'll remember it on your last breath. That's how powerful it can be. There is no farewell channel. But this is the end of this particular saga, this tour. And this day in Rome was specific and planned as the last day. I have a question for you. You're on this tour, many of you, because you're in a state of searching. Some of you are seekers and have been all your life. And some of you have just awakened to the potentials that might be there. Each old soul here has their own path, and it is unique. But the new energy of the planet pokes you and asks you questions. Is this accurate? Is this over here real? Why do I feel the way I do, you might say? What is going on with me that would cause weeping? What is going on with me that would cause frustration? Why don't I like this? Why do I like that? When there has been nothing like this happen before. And so I want to address this with another question. If you are aware of the fact that you are here because you're a seeker, do you think it is the first lifetime that you ever did that? Do you think it's the first lifetime that you ever woke up and questioned that which was inside and asked, what about these changes? Is there more? What does it mean to me? What's next? Dear ones, you've done that lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So then it comes to the next question. If you were indeed a spiritual seeker, is it possible that perhaps that within the history of this country, and especially this city, Rome, and the other country called the Vatican, is it possible that you might have been part, openly, of being a seeker when you felt the love of the Master? How it turned out, that is in your Akash. What it meant to you, that is in your Akash. But some of you were here. Remember, what you see here that represents the Master is from the 12th century. You had hundreds of years to be part of these things. And they weren't always here. They could have been in the buildings of other countries and still had an effect on you of remembrance. Sometimes it's the music. Other times it's the smell of the candles if they are lit properly. And I wanted to take this moment to remind you that it is all there. And a seeker like yourself has probably felt these things before. So many of you, perhaps part of the oldest spiritual system in the West, might have then joined it in some way, or looked at it in some way, or shunned it in some way that would give you a reaction that you had today. There's a lot more. There are no rights and wrongs, dear ones, in the love of God. There's also a review. I say to you this: do not study and be frustrated with the minutiae of love, for it is almost beyond that which is comprehensible to the human being. Evolution will eventually involve consciousness that will fully embrace and understand some of the puzzles that some of you have even today about what might have happened on the planet, what your involvement is, trying to figure these things out. I ask you, if somebody stood in front of you and in all honesty and purity and beauty, and they said, looking into your eyes, "I love you, I love you," would you then look back at them and say, "Prove it, prove it. I don't believe you until you prove it"? They wouldn't be able to prove love. It is a multi-dimensional emotion that goes way beyond any logic, any proof, any understanding, and it touches heart to heart to heart. And that is why this is the Compassion Tour. Looking at everything with the compassion for its time, for its day, perhaps for its appropriateness, and also something that will be controversial that I'll say. Perhaps the Compassion Tour will be a time to say goodbye to the old energy of this particular belief system, for it will change. For hundreds and hundreds of years, Peter was the rock, and all studies pointed to him. Peter the rock, and all doctrine pointed to him. Dear ones, that's about to change. There'll be an acknowledgement that Peter, as strong and as divine as his words and his beliefs were, represent an older time where human consciousness is beginning to accelerate in love and compassion to better understand what the Master of Love said and meant. He never asked anyone to suffer. He did not say, "I've come here for you to suffer." He never asked anyone to do anything but understand that you could be like him. And this is going to start to change the belief systems around this planet, but especially here. It has already begun with rewriting some of the concepts that are dark, some of the concepts that don't honor God, such as judgment and punishment and horror, and the description of a place where even children might go if they didn't do something correctly. That may have worked, dear ones, for an older energy of lower consciousness, and today it does not. And therefore, what you saw today, the buildings, the museums, all that was history, is about to move off of the peg of an old energy. Dear ones, it will survive, but it will survive in a light that is brighter and more understanding, more forgiving, more friendly, more benevolent, and more compassionate. I want you to remember these days. For when your children's children come here someday, and they look upon the things that you saw, it's going to be very different. Very different. For the leadership needs your light, like this country needs your light, like the leadership of all of the countries you come from need your light, in order for harmony to start happening on a regular basis. And it will. I am Kryon. I have come to show you these things are real, not to tread upon anyone's faith or tear away anybody's love, but to enhance it and say, God may be bigger than all of you know in your heart. Big enough to have created the universe, small enough to fit in your heart. That's how big God is. Go from this place changed, in remembrance of the friendships you've met, and let them remain until your last breath. And so it is.